Hello there, you're watching Rajya Sabha Television. My name is Aishwarya Kapoor. Well, it is the start of a brand new week. So let's get you the day's biggest news stories and also what to expect in the day ahead in this half an hour, starting with the headlines. Petrol pump owners defer decision to not accept card payments till the 13th of January. Government intervenes after banks decide to levy merchant discount rate following expiry of 50-day window post-note ban. Budget dates decided much in advance, not scheduled, keeping in mind state elections, says Finance Minister Arun Jaitley. Opposition has petitioned Election Commission to push budget after the elections. Mulayam faction in Samajwadi party to meet Election Commission today with affidavits of supporting legislators. Mulayam says he is still the chief of the party. Cold wave conditions intensify in several states in North India. Snowfall continues in Jammu and Kashmir and Himachal. Also, much of Europe in grip of a severe cold. 20 deaths reported so far. And 4 soldiers killed after a Palestinian man drives a lorry into them in Jerusalem. 17 others have been injured. Attacker shot dead. Our top focus, well, petrol pump owners have deferred their decision not to accept credit and debit card payments for fuel sales till the 13th of January. Well, the decision was taken after the banks put off the move to levy transaction charges. Now, the late evening turnaround came after the government's intervention after receiving letter from the fuel associations informing the Finance Ministry about the sudden decision taken by the banks. Well, the petrol dealers, remember, had announced earlier that starting midnight, they would not accept the debit and credit cards of banks that would levy the extra charge. The government had waived a merchant discount rate on the fuel purchased post-demonetization. But after the expiry of the 50-day window, the banks have decided to levy the MDR on petrol pump owners. Now, this meant that the petrol pumps have to bear 1% on all the credit card transactions and between 0.25% and 1% on all the debit card transactions from 9th of January.
हमारी बैंकों से ऑयल मार्केटिंग कंपनियों की निगोशिएशन हो रही है, चर्चा चल रही है। फिलहाल कल सुबह से जो एमडीआर लगने की बात थी उसको अभी स्थगित रखा गया है कुछ दिनों के लिए। इस 2-3 चीज बहुत स्पष्ट है, ग्राहकों को इस प्रकार की कोई सरचार्ज नहीं लगेगी। पेट्रोल पंप वाले थोड़ा चिंतित है कि क्या उनके ऊपर आ जाएगा। मैं उनको आश्वस्त करना चाहता हूं, उनके ऊपर भी नहीं आएगी।
And also now dismissing opposition's allegation that the budget was scheduled keeping in view the state election. Now, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley has said that the budget date was decided much before the announcement of the election dates. Now, addressing a BJP rally in Amritsar, Jaitley said that advancing the budget is aimed at dispensing next year's expenses from 1st of April. Political parties including the Congress, Left, Samajwadi Party and BSP have voiced reservations against budget presentation just before the state elections in 5 states as they feel that the budget may be used to announce SOPs to influence the voters.
बजट और फाइनेंस बिल 31 मार्च से पहले पास हो जाए ताकि जो अगले साल का खर्चा है 1 अप्रैल से शुरू हो पाए। पुरानी व्यवस्था में क्या होता था कि जब ये मई के महीने में पास होता था और जब तक पैसा डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करते थे तो बरसात आ जाती थी और फिर खर्चा बरसात के बाद अक्टूबर में शुरू होता था। कभी आज तक ये परंपरा नहीं रही कि राज्यों की चुनाव की वजह से हम तारीख स्थगित करें और इसलिए जो एक बजट के संबंध में चुनावों के दौरान एक अनुशासन और परंपरा है, हम उसी के मुताबिक चलेंगे।
And Arun Jaitley also played down the trouble that people face due to demonetization, saying that the days of queuing outside banks and ATMs are now gone.
पर्याप्त करेंसी बाजार में आ चुकी है और अगले कुछ दिनों में और आती रहेगी।
And now some news coming in from Jammu and Kashmir. Now 3 personnel of the General Reserve Engineer Force have been killed in an attack by the militants. Well, the attack took place at the GREF camp in Akhnur sector. Well, the entire area now has been cordoned off now. Well, we'll be following that developing story very, very closely. The details are very sketchy at the moment. Let's move on in the bulletin now. Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has announced a skill development program for youths seeking job opportunities abroad. He announced that the Pravasi Kaushal Vikas Yojana while addressing the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas in Bengaluru on Sunday. The Prime Minister also urged people to convert their PIO or the People of Indian Origin cards to OCI, Overseas Indian Citizens card. He also announced that the deadline has been extended till 30th of June this year, saying it will not attract any penalty. Remember, the earlier deadline was 30th of December last year.
For those workers who seek economic opportunities abroad, our effort is to provide maximum facilitation and ensure least inconvenience. Our motto is सुरक्षित जाएं, प्रशिक्षित जाएं, विश्वास के साथ जाएं। For this, we have streamlined our systems and taken several measures to safeguard immigration of Indian workers. The migrating Indian workers enjoy better economic opportunities. We will shortly launch a skill development program, the Pravasi Kaushal Vikas Yojana, targeted at Indian youth who seek overseas employment. Like my request at the last Pravasi Bharatiya Divas, I would again encourage all PIO card holders to convert their PIO cards to OCI cards. मैं बोल तो रहता हूं, आग्रह भी करता हूं, लेकिन मैं जानता हूं कि आप लोग बहुत व्यस्त हैं और इसके लिए ये शायद काम रह जाता है। तो आपकी इस व्यस्तता को देखते हुए आई एम हैप्पी टू अनाउंस दैट वी हैव एक्सटेंडेड द डेडलाइन फॉर सच कन्वर्सन फ्रॉम 31st December 2016 until June 30, 2017 without any penalty.
Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi also met French Foreign Minister Jean-Marc Ayrault on the sidelines of the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas in Bengaluru on Sunday. Now, the two leaders discussed a wide spectrum of issues, including defence and terrorism. Now, the French side has said that the bilateral ties should be more forward with the spread of, in fact, the speed of a Rafale fighter jet. Now, during the talks, both leaders had considerable discussions on international terrorism, of which the two countries are victims. But the leaders reaffirmed close strategic partnerships between the two countries. The two leaders also discussed about the cooperation in civil energy with a specific reference to Jaitley nuclear plant.
There was a comprehensive review of bilateral relations, including defence, where Prime Minister Modi reiterated the call for Make in India in defence. They also discussed cooperation in civil nuclear energy, with particular reference to the Jaitley nuclear power plant, and space, where both sides acknowledged the significant potential for win-win partnerships given India's demonstrated capabilities for low-cost launches. There was considerable discussion between the two sides on international terrorism. As you know, both India and France have been victims of terrorism. In this context, both sides also reiterated the need for early finalization of the Comprehensive Convention on International Terrorism.
And Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be on a two-day visit to Gujarat from today to inaugurate the 8th edition of Vibrant Gujarat Global Trade Show and a slew of other initiatives. Now, ahead of the opening of the 4-day Vibrant Summit on 10th of January at Mahatma Mandir at Gandhinagar, the Prime Minister will inaugurate 4 different projects today after his arrival, starting with the Bhumi Pujan ceremony for the redevelopment of Gandhinagar railway station. Later, he will head to Gift City near Gandhinagar to inaugurate the country's first international exchange. Well, during the visit, the Prime Minister will also inaugurate the Nobel Prize Series exhibition in Ahmedabad, which will feature works of 9 Nobel laureates from across the world. He will also take part in the roundtable meeting with the invited Nobel Prize winners, including India-born Dr. Venkatraman Radhakrishnan. Now, apart from 1,500 national and international delegates, heads of states and industry leaders from across the country are also expected to participate in this opening ceremony. News from Uttar Pradesh now. Will the Mulayam Singh Yadav camp in the Samajwadi party is expected to submit affidavits of its supporters to the Election Commission today. Well, the poll body had asked both the factions in the party to submit signed affidavits before it by 9th of January. Now, the Akhilesh faction submitted its affidavits on Saturday, claiming support of 90% of the legislators. The Mulayam camp has alleged, however, that the signatures in the affidavits are forged and that its authenticity is doubtful. On the other hand, Mulayam has questioned the legality of the convention called by Ram Gopal Yadav, which ousted him as the president. He asserted that he is still the party chief and that his brother Shivpal is still the president of the Uttar Pradesh unit of the party.
रामपाल ने बुलाया रखो जबकि हमको 6-7 के लिए निकाल चुके हैं तो निष्कासित जज को समाजवादी पार्टी का 9 जनवरी का 2017 का जो अधिवेशन बुलाया है डॉक्टर रामपाल जी ने वो खाली है। मैं समाजवादी पार्टी का राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष हूँ तो अखिलेश यादव मुख्यमंत्री हूँ। जो और सारी जो चर्चाएं हैं वे बुनियाद हैं। मैं राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष हूँ और अखिलेश यादव मुख्यमंत्री हैं उत्तर प्रदेश के और शिवपाल उत्तर प्रदेश के अध्यक्ष हैं।
हमारे पास भी बहुत लोगों की शिकायत है, फर्जी हस्ताक्षर हैं। एक एक हस्ताक्षर उनकी जेन्युइनिटी क्या है और वो सभी जो एफिडेविट दिए गए हैं, जो उसका पुलिंदा दिया गया है, उसमें कितने ऐसे लोग हैं जो 1 जनवरी 2017 के अधिवेशन बुलाए जाने के बाद उनकी नियुक्ति हुई है, क्योंकि अब तो दफ्तर भी दखल किए जा रहे हैं। तो ये लोकशाही की प्रक्रिया है। समाजवादी पार्टी के घोषित सिद्धांत के संविधान के अनुसार इसका निर्णय होगा। इलेक्शन कमीशन एक क्वाज़ी जुडिशियल बॉडी है, इसको न्यायिक प्रक्रिया भी करती है।
देखिए, ऐसा है, साइकिल का निशान तो अखिलेश यादव को ही मिलना चाहिए, क्योंकि तमाम ऐसे फैसले सुप्रीम कोर्ट और स्वयं इलेक्शन कमीशन के हैं कि जब ये क्रिस्टल क्लियर हो कि ये गुट भारी बहुमत में है स्पष्ट रूप से, तो पार्टी उसी के पक्ष में इलेक्शन कमीशन फैसला देता है। लेकिन इलेक्शन कमीशन का निर्णय अंतिम होता है, वो बाइंडिंग है। वो अगर नहीं मानता है, वो कहता है कि नहीं पार्टी में स्प्लिट हो गई है, 2 ग्रुप हैं, तो जो चुनाव चिन्ह होगा हमारे लिए, तो हमारे कार्यकर्ताओं के लिए, तो हमारे मतदाताओं के लिए तो अखिलेश यादव ही चुनाव चिन्ह।
जो भी हम हूँ नेताजी की वजह से हूँ और हम नेताजी के साथ हैं। हर स्थिति में, हर परिस्थिति में हम नेताजी के साथ हैं। और जो मैंने कहा कि उनके आदेश, जो भी आदेश होगा, हम उसे मानेंगे।
On to some other news now from Punjab. Well, former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh will release the Congress's manifesto for Punjab today. Well, the release will be coupled with parallel releases at Chandigarh and district levels. Well, the manifesto will be released in the presence of top state leaders, including Punjab Congress Chief Amarinder Singh, chairperson of the manifesto drafting panel, Ranjinder Bhattal. Various measures of the welfare of the farmers, Dalits and other sections of society are likely to be promised in the manifesto. It is also expected today that former BJP leader Navjot Singh Sidhu will announce his joining the Congress. On Sunday, senior BJP leader and Finance Minister Arun Jaitley addressed a gathering in Amritsar and said that BJP candidates for the polls will be announced in 3 to 4 days. And what else will be making news through the day? Let's take a look in the day ahead. The Delhi High Court will hear the plea of the CBI seeking cancellation of bail to former Air Chief SP Tyagi in the Augusta Westland chopper deal case. Tyagi was granted bail by a trial court on 26th of December last year. Tyagi was arrested with two others for allegedly involved in irregularities in the procurement of 12 VVIP helicopters from Britain-based Augusta-Westland on 9th of December. The 2G trial court is likely to frame charges against accused in the matter, including a former Union Telecom Minister Dayanidhi Maran and his brother Karanidhi Maran. According to the CBI charge sheet, Aircel owner C. Sivasankaran was allegedly arm-twisted by the minister Dayanidhi Maran to sell majority shares to Maxis in Malaysia. Maran allegedly received a bribe of 642 crore rupees for this deal. The Supreme Court will hear the Adarsh Housing Society case after the Bombay High Court expressed dissatisfaction over a CBI report on Benami flats in the society. The CBI had moved the special CBI court for permission to investigate the alleged Benami transactions as appointed by the Justice retired J.A. Patil Commission. Earlier, the Bombay High Court had ordered the demolition of the apartments. And in Breakfast News, time for a very short break. We'll be back with more news. Stay with us.
Hello and welcome to India's World.
Rohingyas are not really an ethnic group. It is a political construction.
It's not only the position against the Rohingyas. You have to recognize that there is a communal problem out there, which is an anti-Muslim problem.
The Haraka al-Yaqeen has linkages and has patrons and has inspiration from the broader Islamist jihadist movement and in fact support.
Watch experts debate Myanmar crisis as it pushes Rohingyas to extremism. Only on India's World on Rajya Sabha TV.
The sacred relics of Buddha were unearthed in Piprava in Uttar Pradesh. Buddhist monks from all over the world visit the National Museum to pay their respects. These charred bone fragments of Buddha are housed in the gold canopy gifted by the royal family of Thailand.
Welcome back now and follow up on the Akhnur attack that we reported a short while back. Now, 3 civilians working as the labourers with the General Reserve Engineering Force or the GREF have been killed in the terror attack which was close to line of control in the Akhnur sector of Jammu and Kashmir. Well, the attack took place at the GREF camp. The entire area has been cordoned off now. All army camps in Jammu and Kashmir have also put on high alert. Well, we'll keep tracking all those developments in Jammu and Kashmir very, very closely. Meanwhile, cold wave conditions have further intensified in North India with a fresh spell of moderate snowfall. At least 41 trains are running late and 9 have been rescheduled and 3 have been cancelled due to the dense fog. Now, let's take a look at the cold wave conditions in other states. Well, after remaining cut off for 2 consecutive days due to heavy snowfall, the Srinagar-Jammu National Highway reopened partially for the traffic. Well, the move comes after improvement in weather. The 300-kilometer arterial highway was cleared off for snow and the debris on a Sunday that was left behind by landslides at few places, and stranded vehicles were allowed to proceed towards Srinagar. Meanwhile, the Met Department has issued a medium danger avalanche warning for some avalanche-prone districts, and people have been advised not to venture into such areas. Meanwhile, heavy snow has choked the hills towns of northern Himachal Pradesh as well, bringing normal life to a standstill. The untimely snowfall on rains has also drastically dropped the temperatures in various parts of the state. Now, telecommunications, power and water supply were disrupted and a large number of tourists were stranded due to the snowfall. The Met Department has warned of more snow in the coming days. And cold wave conditions also prevailed in Punjab and Haryana as the minimum temperatures hovered above normal in most parts of the state, with the Chandigarh registering a low of 8 degrees Celsius, 3 notches above normal. While Patna, however, is expected to experience a foggy morning that would be followed by sunshine later.
रास्ते बंद हैं, 2 दिन से बिजली नहीं है, पानी नहीं है, टंकियां जाम हैं, पाइप जाम है और जो डेली नीड्स होती थी दूध, ब्रेड, ये सब चीज़ें ये तो कल से बंद है.
And not just North India, cold weather has also gripped much of Europe amid icy temperatures from Poland to Turkey. Now, 20 deaths have been reported as a result of the freezing weather conditions. Now, Italy saw ferries and flights cancelled and schools in south are closed today. Now, airports in Sicily, Bari and Brindisi were closed on Saturday. Rome also saw freezing temperatures. Now, Turkey has been badly affected also. In Poland, at least 12 people have reportedly died in the past couple of days, following a brutal cold snap that saw temperatures fall to minus 14 degrees Celsius. Now, night temperatures in Russia also plunged to minus 30 degrees Celsius. The country experienced its coldest Christmas in 120 years. Now, normally milder Greece has witnessed temperatures of minus 15 degrees Celsius in the north, while where one person also died of cold last week and roads were closed. In Athens, the temperatures failed to rise above the freezing limits and several of the islands also were covered in the snow. However, no respite is in the offing because the cold weather is expected to continue in much of Europe over the weekend as well.
Η κατάσταση είναι δύσκολη, χιόνια πολλά, όλη νύχτα περάσαμε δύσκολη βραδιά. Ευτυχώς έχουμε τη βοήθεια και τους ΠΑΠ, έχουμε μισθώσει μηχανήματα και του Δήμου τα μηχανήματα και έχουμε τους δρόμους ανοιχτούς και δεν υπάρχουν προβλήματα, αλλά το χιόνι είναι πολύ.
Οι δρόμοι είναι ανοιχτοί.
Well, 4 soldiers were killed in Jerusalem by a Palestinian man who drove a lorry into a group of soldiers. Well, the driver plowed a truck into a group of Israeli soldiers as they were getting off a bus in Jerusalem on Sunday afternoon. Well, the dead included 3 female soldiers and 1 male. Now, 17 others were injured as well. Now, the police called the episode an act of terrorism. The attacker was later shot dead. Security has been now tightened throughout the city in response. Now, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu visited the scene of the attack and said that the perpetrator, by all indications, was a supporter of the Islamic State. Now, the US State Department and the European Union also issued a condemnation. Now, the Palestinian militant group, however, Hamas, praised the attacker. It is noteworthy that before this incident, 35 Israelis have been killed in a wave of knife, gun and car ramming attacks by Palestinians since October 2015. More than 200 Palestinians have also been killed in that period. Now, Israel blames a Palestinian incitement for the attack, while Palestine says it was due to the frustration rooted in decades of Israeli occupation.
Several buses loaded with soldiers were stopping here today. This is a very popular point, like you mentioned, for tourists, as well as a very popular point for new soldiers who come here and learn about the country, learn about the land. Today, as the soldiers were exiting the bus, a truck that was situated behind rammed up next to the bus and began to injure soldiers.
We've heightened security in and around in Jerusalem in order to make sure there won't be any further terrorist attacks. We're not talking about thousands, we're talking about hundreds of police officers in and around the different areas.
On to the other foreign story. Well, Iran's ex-president Akbar Hashemi Rafsanjani has died at the age of 82 after suffering a heart attack. Now, Rafsanjani was a pivotal figure in the foundation of the Islamic Republic in 1979, but later in life he became a counterpoint to the hardline conservatives. Now, he served as the country's president from 1989 to 1997. His presidency was marked by reconstruction, cautious reforms and repairs to Iran's relations with its Arab neighbors. But it was also marred by human rights violations, rampant inflation and also difficult relations with Europe. Now, Rafsanjani ran for the 3rd time for president in 2005, but he lost to Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. Now, there will be 3 days of national mourning. A funeral in Tehran is due on Tuesday, which has been declared a public holiday. Now, President Hassan Rouhani, whom Rafsanjani always backed, tweeted that the soul of the great man of the revolution, symbol of patience and resistance, has gone to heaven. Also, Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Khamenei in a statement said that their difference of opinion could never entirely break up the friendship between them.
حالشون بد شد به بیمارستان منتقل شدن اونجا
یه تیم پزشکی سعی کردن که احیا کنن متاسفانه نتونستن احیا بکنن.
طور کاملا ناگهانی دچار ایست کامل قلبی شدند. بلافاصله به نزدیکترین بیمارستان منتقل شدند. در بخش اورژانس تیم پزشکی شامل متخصصین قلب، بیهوشی و طب اورژانس همه اقدامات لازم را انجام دادند.
یکی از بزرگترین استوانه‌های انقلابیار امامیار حضرت رهبری از دست ما رفت.
On to some sports news now. Well, Rohan Bopanna and Jeevan Nedunchezian have notched a memorable victory in a historic All-Indian doubles final, defeating India's Divij Sharan and Puran Raja 6-3, 6-4 in the Chennai Open on Sunday. Now, Bopanna and Jeevan won their first set 6-3. After a good start, Raja Sharan fought back to make it 3-all, but Bopanna and Jeevan regained control and crossed the first hurdle easily. Raja Sharan then fought back in the second set also, but failed in turning games in their favour. It was for the first time an ATP 250 event witnessed two Indian teams contesting a final, and also one of them winning at the stadium since Leander Paes and Mahesh Bhupati triumphed in 2011. And finally, the 25th edition of the World Book Fair began in the national capital on Saturday. Well, over 800 publishers are participating in the 9-day fair, themed Manushi, writings on and by women. Now, books from different genres of eminent women scholars of ancient and medieval India and women pioneers of modern Indian literature are featured in this year's edition. Well, around 20 countries including China, Egypt, France, Germany, Japan and Iran are participating in the foreign pavilion. Now, activities like seminars, panel discussions, storytelling sessions and workshops on creative writing will be organized at the Children's Pavilion as well. And do take out some time and go for that World Book Fair. And that's all in this edition of news. Thanks for watching.